Hi guys, it's Angie, and I'm just now leaving work. Today is New Year's Eve, New Year's Eve, and I just wanted to say hi and let you know what's been going on. I don't really have a whole lot of, I think I might have to put my sunglasses on. I didn't really have a whole lot of completed projects done. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to put my sunglasses on. Holy crap. It snowed here, and so, when it's sunny, for those of you that are used to the snow, when it's sunny, the snow and the sun get together and blind you. It's like that. So anyway, I don't have a whole lot of projects done, so I didn't really have much to show, so I figured I would just talk to you on my way home, because I've had a couple of different things that have gone on and thought I would share. First thing is, for the first time in years and years and years, it's probably at least a decade, if not longer, we actually traveled for Christmas. Nothing like huge, no like vacation trip to Cabo or something like that, but we went and visited my family. I'm the oldest of 7 kids, and 5 out of the 7 of us and our families all got together. I thought it was going to be all 7 of us. I didn't realize that one of my brothers and one of my sisters weren't going to be there. But anyway, that was really nice. We went down towards the St. Louis area and got a hotel. And for the first time, we actually had the kids have their own room, and then we had our own room, which I say kids, but one of them's 20. I've got a 20-year-old and a 16-year-old. And we got adjoining rooms. So, we had the door to where we had them leave their side unlocked, but we locked our side, because we had a feeling like we went up there Christmas Eve, and we had a feeling they might be hard to wake up on Christmas Day. And so we were like, don't you guys lock your door, because if we can't get a hold of you by text or your cell phones, then we're going to come over there and shake you awake, Sure enough, they didn't wake up, because they didn't realize that for Christmas, both of them just wanted money, so they didn't really have like presents or anything to open on Christmas. So on Christmas Eve, I just gave them their money. But I didn't want to not give them anything on Christmas, so I surprised them and my husband. I made them all 3 little gift bags. And my husband and I don't normally get each other anything for Christmas, but I was just grateful that my husband didn't complain, but my sons complained, about traveling on Christmas, because it didn't really feel like Christmas, when we weren't in our own house, and I didn't put up like the big Christmas tree and stuff. And so anyway, I made each of them up like a fun little gift bag with some treats and, stuff like that in it, and give those to them on Christmas morning. And then we stayed from Christmas Eve until Sunday, and every day we went to my brother's house, because he's got a pretty good sized house and has a lot of room, for people. And so we played a lot of games and like some trivia games, and then there's a game called Catchphrase. I think I just spit when I talked. But there's a game called Catchphrase, which is really fun, where you play in teams, and it's like this little computer device that you pass around. It's kind of like hot potato almost, because you have to like act out the words, and your team has to guess what the word or phrase is, and then when they guess, you pass it along to the next person, and there's a timer that runs, and then whoever is holding it when the timer buzzes, their team loses that round. That was so fun. We had a lot of fun playing games and just spending time and visiting and everything. So Christmas was good, just different. Then I think think I've mentioned before, or maybe not. My husband doesn't have like a normal 9-to-5 job. He actually does several different things for eons. For a number of years he had a 9-to-5 job, and then he just decided he didn't want to do that anymore. He was really unhappy, and he's also just really handy. He can build things, he can do anything around the house, So what he does now is he does some home improvement, mostly for the people at church. He's got his own business, but he doesn't advertise it and stuff. So he pretty much just does work for, like a lot of people, by word of mouth. His main job his two main jobs is he does advertising for a company, and he's a salesman for a fence company. So he sells fences, and then he also has a job where he designs and sells kitchens for another company, which incidentally is the company he worked for like 20 years and then decided he didn't want to be in the 9-to-5, and they kind of begged him to come back just as like a salesman, and he's kind of just works for them on an as needed basis. So he does several things, and he loves doing that. Well, he also got the opportunity to drive around like a salt truck and a plow for a company. It's the same guy that runs the fence company, also does this like as a freelance thing, and asked my husband if he would be interested in doing it. My husband's like, all right, pays pretty good money and everything. The bad thing about it is basically what it is when it snows, there's the city goes out and salts the roads and stuff. Well, all these companies like Home Depot and Walmart and just all these different companies have different places that like salt and plow their lots. Well, that's what this company does. And sorry, I was trying to turn the heater on, but it was way too loud, so I've got it on low. And so he was going to go drive the plow and just clear and salt the parking lots and stuff. The bad thing was, the first time he ever did that happened to start on the day we got back from St. Louis. So it's not really St. Louis, it's a little bit past St. Louis. It's like a suburb. Oh, which reminds me, I'll come back to that. But on the way home, I'm sure several of you have heard about all the flooding that's going on in Missouri because of all the rain. It hasn't really affected the side of the state that I live on too much, but that side, it has affected really bad. And we almost got stuck because of it. If we would have left probably 30 minutes later than we did, we would have been in trouble. But you go down I-70 East to go to St. Louis and I-70 West to come home, like back towards the Kansas City side of the state. When we were coming home, the westbound lanes in, I think it's called St. Charles County, the westbound lanes were completely shut. The water was covering the road, and it had started coming into the westbound lanes because they had the left lane closed because the water was trickling over there, and eventually it was going to cover that whole side too. And so we just kind of monitored it on our phone, and I bet like 20 minutes after we got through, they closed both sides of the highway. So because of all the water and everything, it was crazy. I just feel so bad for the people that this is happening to, because flooding and water causes significant damage and deaths. Unfortunately, seems like every year you hear of people dying in their cars because they don't listen when they say don't try to cross the water, and they do it anyway and their car gets swept away. I guess they think that the car won't be displaced by the water and float. I don't know. So anyway, we got home probably close to 5 o'clock, and they had snow in the forecast, but it was going to be ice and rain first. So the guy got a hold of Brian, my husband, and said, hey, would you at 7 o'clock tonight, we're going to be out in the trucks, and could be a lot of hours, and would you be interested? And my husband's like, all right. Mistake. When the city, at least here, the city works in 12-hour shifts. Well, this company, it's like they just work until they're done. And I think that's ridiculous. And I don't even know if I don't even think it should be, it probably isn't even legal. Long story short, my husband was out for 30 some odd hours. I didn't even see him. It's like he left at 7 o'clock on Sunday. I didn't see him it felt like forever. But then when he came home, he came through the door and he was like, Angie, I don't want to worry you, but I think I'm going to need you to call an ambulance. And he was having really bad chest pains. And he couldn't even bend down to untie his boots. He just didn't look right, you could tell he was in a lot of pain. And my husband can take a lot of pain. And so I knew he wasn't kidding. And so he just wanted to change his clothes, because we live really close to the fire department. So we knew it would only take like 2 minutes for the ambulance to get there. So he's like, let me change my clothes. I'm feeling kind of grungy. And so he changed his clothes real quick. I called the ambulance. They got there super fast. And an ambulance and a fire truck, so of course our neighbors had to be looky-loos, and one of them that's really nice did call and check to make sure that Brian was okay, because they saw him get carted out. But anyway, they hooked him up to their portable EKG, and they didn't think he was having a heart attack, but he said he'd been feeling the pain for like 7 hours. So even though they weren't seeing anything abnormal, they thought that it was a good idea to go to the hospital. So they took him, and then I followed behind. Unfortunately, the roads were icy, super icy and covered in snow. So luckily the hospital was really close to the house. And so, long story short, we were there, of course, for several hours. He didn't have to stay. What it ended up being was a lung infection and pleurisy, and which is like a swelling of the lining of the lungs, which normally you can't feel that lining, but when it swells up, it rubs together and causes really bad pain. And so they had an IV in him, and they gave him like some prednisone or steroids, which would, but basically for the pain, they just told him ibuprofen, but 4 of them, and gave him prescription for an antibiotic and for more of the prednisone to get the swelling down. And he's feeling better now, but that was really scary, because, it's like I'm sitting there praying the whole way to the hospital, to please let it not be his heart. And he'd been having some like congestion and stuff. And so I was thinking that it probably wasn't his heart. It was more, and for one, I did probably a no-no, where when he was complaining of the chest pains, he asked me if he could have one of my nitroglycerin tablets. And if you are having a heart attack and you take a nitroglycerin tab, you put them under your tongue, and the pain decreases, it's pretty good bet that it's heart related. If the pain does not decrease or doesn't change, it's kind of an indication that there isn't anything wrong. So I had given him a nitroglycerin. It didn't change the pain in any way, shape, or form. He also didn't have, and I know not everybody has the same symptoms, but he had nothing else besides just pain in his chest. He didn't have any of the other ones. And so I kind of didn't think it was his heart, but, I didn't know what it was. But, he'd been out there driving for all those hours. He hadn't had any sleep in all that time, because they said, well, you can pull over and sleep in the truck, between jobs. Basically, they just have him stay out there, then they dispatch him to go different places. But he said he couldn't sleep in the truck because he felt like he would die from carbon monoxide poisoning, because he said that it's like exhaust fumes just kept coming in the truck. you couldn't like run the heater while the truck was just sitting there running, because you had to keep gassing the truck up. And I don't know if he's going to do that anymore. He just seems really inhumane to me. It's like, why can't you work in shifts like the city does? You know, they're 12-hour shifts, but still, you know, they rotate. The guys get to go home and sleep for a little bit and go back out. They don't work, you know, 30 hours. And I told him, I said, you know, not to be funny, but at a certain period of time, you can die from not sleeping. I mean, and it's not that many hours. I mean, one of you may know, I think it was like 70 some hours that you could like die from no sleep. You know, and of course I was worried about him falling asleep at the wheel or whatever. But it was like, we go from having this nice, fun Christmas time, thinking, oh, we're going to relax when we get home, to nope, him getting out there, and then as soon as he comes home, having to go to the hospital, and his mom freaked out, you know, because she couldn't come out because the roads were so icy. She doesn't live that far away from us, but, you know, it would have endangered her life to try to get out on the roads. And so I kept trying to keep her updated. As soon as they got to the hospital, they did an EKG. They said it was not his heart. They ran the blood work. There was no enzymes that indicated heart. You know, I just kept keeping her updated. But she made me so sad. She was just crying. You know, he's an only child. And she just, you know, she wanted to be there, but she couldn't. And I don't know. One part of me was like, gosh, you make me not even want to call you, because you freak out so bad. You know, I'm trying to stay calm for him, because, you know, he was in a lot of pain. And then going without the sleep. And then by the time we got done at the hospital, none of the pharmacies were open. But first thing in the morning, I went up to Walgreens and filled his prescriptions and made sure he was taking his ibuprofen every 4 hours, and made sure he took his medicine, which luckily both of them he only has to take once a day. But he's feeling much better. It was just a scare. It was just strange. But we don't have any big plans for New Year's Eve. I'm lucky if I stay up till midnight. I mean, to me, it's just another day, honestly. I mean, I know people like I think I can remember one time we went to a party. It was years ago, before we ever even had kids. And it was a really cool one because it was at a hotel, and then everybody had gotten rooms at the hotel, so you didn't have to worry about drinking or anything because you didn't drive. You just went up to the hotel room. And that was a lot of fun, but I'm not really a big party kind of person. I'm kind of shy. I don't really feel comfortable in crowds and stuff. So, you know, unless I know everybody there, like when we were at my family's and it's my mom and dad and all my brothers and sisters and their kids and stuff, I'm fine with that, you know, in limited doses. But, so, you know, it doesn't hurt my feelings not to go to a New Year's Eve party or anything. And then I know even if we fall asleep before midnight, we'll wake up at midnight because there's all kinds of people that let off fireworks and stuff. Okay, my phone rang right in the middle of recording. I'm using that YouTube capture. I don't know how to edit with it, so I hope I just didn't waste all my time filming the first half of this. I guess I'll find out. I hope it puts the videos together, because it just started completely over. I don't know. I guess I'll find out. I'm going to be really upset if it erased the whole thing. Or I guess I could just put a little note at the end to say, oh, my phone rang. I don't know. I'll see. I'll find out if you can edit on YouTube Capture, put two videos together. I've never done it before. What was I talking about? Oh, New Year's Eve. So are any of you guys going to do anything? We're just going to actually get pizza and stay in, and I'm going to stop at the grocery store on my way home and my husband keeps talking about how we normally, if we eat bacon, it's turkey bacon, and he keeps talking about how he would like to just have some regular good old bacon and eggs for breakfast. And so I think I'm gonna stop by and get some bacon. Him and my son like bacon, and maybe make breakfast in the morning. But yeah, we don't do anything special on New Year's Eve. Like I said, it's just another day to me. And, you know, nothing against people that celebrate it and have fun with it. The only people that I would have a problem with would be anybody that drinks and drives. You know, I think that's highly irresponsible, especially since there's so many, at least here, there's so many companies that, like, there's a whole taxi company that will take you home for free on New Year's Eve, you know, from like, I forget the hours, but it's a pretty good span of hours. So, you know, there's really not an excuse to drink and drive. A lot of places, if you are the designated driver, just ask, like, at different places that you go to, like somewhere that my husband and I have gone to, I think 3 or 4 times, is Howl at the Moon Saloon. It's like a piano bar, a dueling piano bar. And I'm usually the designated driver. And so if you let them know you're the DD, they'll give you your sodas for free. So, you know, I'm sitting there drinking Diet Pepsis and watching everybody else turn really stupid, which is kind of funny to watch people. There was a lady one time that literally took her shirt off. I mean, like, naked. That's like the craziest thing I've ever seen. Usually you just see people like stumbling and acting really stupid and talking really loud, because it seems like for some reason when people get drunk, the volume of their voice increases. I don't know. But so yeah, if you want to be the designated driver for someone, a lot of times they'll give you your drinks for free. You know, non-alcoholic drinks. Just depends on where you go, I guess. I don't have much experience with bars. As a matter of fact, I can't remember the last time I was at a bar besides Howl at the Moon Saloon, and that's been a long time since we've gone there, even probably a couple years. But I don't know, I might have like a Kahlua or some kind of a drink at home to celebrate, but I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to talk your ears off or make this too long, because I know for myself personally, when people make videos too long, I don't tend to watch them. Not because I don't like the people, because I really do, or I'll watch them in pieces, because I'm so behind on my YouTube video watching, you know, over the last few weeks, working all the extra hours at work and stuff. So I find myself going through, and if they're shorter, you know, 20 minutes or less, those are the ones I'm watching. And then when they're longer, they're the ones that I'm like, okay, I'll save that for later and watch that later. So I know this is probably going to be a little over 20 minutes. But anyway, I hope you all had a really nice holiday, and Happy New Year. Bye.